I thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Jen and I'm part of admission team at the Institute of Global Specialists. So one of our CBSS instructors, Todd Bundy, and my colleague Poco, they are also here today joining us to tell you a little bit more about our programs. So they will be speaking after me. So for today's info section, we will begin with some general information such as admission requirements and fee structures. And after that brief general information, we will get into the programs in details. And toward the end, there's a Q&A section. We will be more than happy to answer your questions at that time. If you have anything to ask during our presentations, you can type it on the chat box, and my colleague, Yulia Dimitri-Scars from the admission team and our CEO, John Ryan, they will help answering your questions. So to give you a little bit of general information about who we are and our programs, the Institute of Global Specialists is owned by a nonprofit organization, Canadian Society of Immigration Consultants, which was the previous regulator of immigration consultants in Canada. We are now located in St. John, New Brunswick. Currently, we offer 7 programs and everything is 100% online. That will include your study material, lectures, assignments. Basically, you can access everything 24/7 online. So all the programs are designed using the Harvard Business School case study method of teaching, and they are all offered in English only. We don't have anything in French or Spanish, other languages, only in English. No language requirement to join. As long as you are fluent in English, comfortable studying English, you're welcome to apply. No age limit to join either. We do also accept international students, and they pay the same rate as our Canadian students. So that means you can be anywhere to study our program. In regards to time difference, you get to schedule your own study time. So as long as you are meeting your deadlines, you are pretty much good to go. Our programs are definitely good for those students who have other commitments or have a full-time job. But you still got to make sure that you devoted at least 10 to 20 hours per week into your study to make sure that you can submit your work on time and to be able to succeed with your courses. And we noticed that a lot of our inquiries, a lot of students have questions about placement. Like most colleges and universities, we will offer career placement support to our students, such as help with writing resumes, identifying job opportunities, networks, job interview presentation skills. But it will be ultimately up to you to seek employment after you complete your studies. Now, I would like to highlight something that's very unique and special about our instructors. They are people who have been working in their industry for over 20 years, and they are still actively involved in their field currently. So we carefully vetted each instructor's for and select highly qualified individuals to design and teach all our programs. So what you will get from our program is not just about theory. You are actually learning from the real world experience from them. So you're more than welcome to take advantage of that. We do believe our instructors will be such access to everyone, to all our students, when you plan your future careers. So all the details and bios about our instructors are available on our website, globalspecialist.org. We highly encourage you to check them out. The tuition fee for all the IGS program has just been lowered by 40% to 533 per module recently. We want to help our students during this difficult time. We just want to make sure our program are as accessible as possible to everyone. Our payment plans are flexible as students can pay on a module by module basis. There are 6 to 9 modules depending on the program, and each module is about 4 to 5 weeks long. This means that students can expect to pay 1 module per month. Also, if you are interested in only taking individual modules, instead of the whole program, you can choose to take certain modules in certain programs. For example, in our Canadian Immigration Law Specialist program, you can choose to take only the refugee module or economic class module if you wish. With our flexible module by module payment plans and our lower tuition fee, we hope this can help students realize their full potential at IGS. We have next scheduled start date started on March 7th. Another things to mention about is that we do also offer scholarships and financing. So please contact us for more information about that. Now, I will be talking about each program in details. I will be covering 3 programs and Paul will be go over the other 4 programs after me. So the first program I'm going to talk about is the Canada Border Service Specialist Program. This program is designed and taught by CBSA expert formal officers who have over 15 years of experience on the field. This program will enable you with the essential border services procedure and prepare you to be a capable professional in immigration, customs, import, export, or concerning border services. This program has 7 modules and is 29 weeks long. And once you complete the 7 modules, you can seek employment with the public sectors, such as CBSA, the Immigration Department. If you want, you can also work in a private sector with companies, those dealing with the course, borders, regulations, and processes. Importing, exporting business such as Walmart, Costco, oil industry, or even mining organization, etc. So there are still a lot of opportunity out there. The second program I'm going to talk about is Global Immigration Specialist Program. There are 6 interactive modules in the Global Immigration Specialist Program. And the program is 26 weeks long. This specific program will actually focus on different global immigration paths through investments, such as purchasing property and business overseas. You are going to learn about over 20 countries that offers these programs. Countries like Caribbean countries, some European countries, and some East Asian countries as well. You will be able to identify the needs and risks for your clients that you can find the most efficient routes of immigration in a corporate context. All our GIS instructors have been producing and providing immigration advice globally for decades. Their on-hand experience would be an access to our students for sure. Once you successfully completed this program, you will receive a diploma from us, which will qualify you to write an exam with the regulatory body, Global Society of Immigration Specialists, and you could work as a charter global immigration specialist to provide service anywhere in the world that you wish. And then the next program I'm going to talk about is our Global Education Specialist Program. Upon completion of this program, you could work as an international student agent for elementary, secondary schools, university, colleges to receive commissions. And on the other hand, you could work as a consultant to help students and their families with the right admission process with the school of their choices. There are 8 modules in this program and it's 38 weeks long. This program focuses on over 20 countries. You learn about different level of education systems in Canada, down in States, in European countries, in New Zealand, Australia, and some East Asian countries as well. You are going to learn about the immigration aspects for sure, such as how to apply for study permit visa for your clients. You will also learn about different financial aids available for international students. You will also learn how to build connection with schools as a designated agents and with clients as a education advisors. Our GES instructors are all coming from different parts of the world with amazing backgrounds. They have over 20 years of experience in the industry. Some are former admission officers and recruiters at post-secondary institutions. Some are experts in admissions to K-12 education. Together, we believe they can provide the comprehensive knowledge and field experience you need as a successful education advisor. Once you complete the whole program, you will be able to write an exam with the regulatory body, Global College of Education Specialists, and work as a charter global education specialist. Now, my colleague Paul will go over the other 4 programs in detail.
Thank you, Jen. My name is Poe, and I am the Admissions and Student Affairs Representative at Institute of Global Specialists. I'll now be going over the 4 remaining programs that we offer, beginning with the Foreign Service and International Development Specialist Program. Like all of our programs, the Foreign Service and International Development Specialist Program is completely online. There are 6 modules in the program, and it is 24 weeks long. The program will introduce students to the world of diplomacy in bilateral and multilateral settings. The program will examine real-world examples of diplomacy involving Canada and other countries, such as the relationship between Canada and the US. Students will develop essential diplomatic skills such as intergovernmental negotiation and networking. And these diplomacy skills are not just specific to Canada. They are transferable skills for anyone who wishes to join a career in diplomacy anywhere in the world. The program will also cover how to manage international development projects and the effects of globalization, which are major priorities for NGOs and Global Affairs Canada. I'd also like to take a moment to highlight the amazing instructors in the program. Our instructors have 15 to 30 years of experience as foreign officers with the government or as development specialists. So they're very knowledgeable and well-connected in the industry. The next program that I'll cover today is the Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program. The Canadian Immigration Law Specialist Program is geared toward anyone who wishes to have an in-depth understanding of how to navigate the immigration system in Canada. Using the Harvard case study method of teaching, the program covers key aspects of Canadian immigration law and regulations. Please note that this program is not meant for those wishing to become a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. That's a profession that's regulated by the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants, CICC. However, there are promising career opportunities after taking a program, such as working for the government or for NGOs or at an existing consulting firm. Our program is taught by immigration consultants who have decades of experience navigating the Canadian immigration system. There are 9 modules in the program, and it is 42 weeks long. This is the longest program that we offer, as it covers the complexities of Canada's immigration system. The program covers topics such as PR and citizenship, economic class, family class, temporary class, appeals, hearings, and detentions, and refugees. The next program that I'll talk about today is the Global Supply Chain Specialist Program. At a basic level, supply chain management involves acquiring goods or services to achieve your business goals. And in today's globalized world, supply chain management has never been more important. And we've all heard about recent supply chain problems in the news. For example, delays in consumer goods over the holidays was a major problem for many retailers. The Global Supply Chain Specialist Program consists of 7 modules and is 26 weeks long. Our program will examine the supply chain process for the public sector, which includes all levels of government, and the private sector. You learn how to navigate the complexities of the request for proposal process, known as RFPs, and how to negotiate contracts. The program will cover the supply chain landscape in various countries, such as Canada, the US, and the UK. The instructors in our program have diverse backgrounds in the supply chain sector, including the fields of transportation, mining, healthcare, telecommunications, construction, and more. Our instructors have experience in both the private and the public sectors of supply chain management. This program is perfect for business owners interested in training with the government, or for professionals who want to make a career in the global supply chain sector. The last program that I'll talk about today is the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Specialist Program. The Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Specialist Program consists of 7 modules and is 28 weeks long. The program will introduce students to the theoretical and the practical applications of machine learning and data science. Through data analysis and visualization, students will learn how to use AI technologies to optimize their business. This program also includes live instructor lessons, so it's very hands-on. The program will cover Python, Jupyter Notebooks, and Google Colab. All of our instructors are leading experts with backgrounds in both data science and in business. So this means that they have the academic and the real-world expertise to help students develop the skills they need to be successful. The program is perfect for business professionals who work with any type of data and who wish to stay competitive by using the power of machine learning and data science. Finally, I'd like to highlight our free career placement support module. This free module is available to our students to help them transition seamlessly to a new job. This module helps students with networking, career opportunities, resume building, and interviewing skills. Now, I'd like to introduce one of our instructors in the Canada Border Services Specialist Program, Todd Bundy. Todd's a former CBSA officer, retiring after almost 22 years at CBSA. He teaches the Introduction to Commercial Operations module in our CBSS program. Todd is here today to talk a bit about himself and our CBSS program.
Thank you very much, Poe. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you folks today. Thank you very much for coming out and learning about our different programs. So as Poe has said, I was a border service officer at the most busy crossing land border in North America, that being Windsor, Ontario. Yes, I'm sure you've heard of Windsor, a lot in the news right now about what's going on at that border crossing. So to move it on though, I was trained in all modes of travel. So highway, air, so airplanes, marine, and rail. Just to name 4 out of the 5 of them. So basically, I've had over 10 years in commercial operations. And basically, what did I do in commercial operations? I worked front counter. I learned inside and out, basically what it takes for someone to import business goods. And I also worked in the enforcement aspect of that too. I worked as a legislative technical trainer with CBSA. So I'm very used to law and teaching law and step-by-step procedures. And that's what you're going to get out of the module that I teach. So it's module number 5, Introduction to Commercial Operations. I also, when I was with CBSA, worked very heavily in mentoring. So new employees, they would get hired and they would basically be with me. I would shadow them for a couple of weeks and teach them basically the ins and outs of everyday business that a border service officer does at the CBSA. I've also been an acting superintendent at the Windsor crossings. I also worked as an enforcement officer. So I worked really closely with the detector canine units, the investigations department, the intelligence unit. I also worked on VACUS, which is that great big X-ray truck, which can X-ray a truck or a rail car in a matter of minutes. And it actually presents an image on the screen that officers can go through to check for contraband and undeclared goods. I also worked on flexible response teams, which are different type of enforcement units that move around. Worked Marine in plain clothes. So some people like to say undercover. We liked using just the term plain clothes. I also worked hand in hand with the Canadian Wildlife Service. And with the Canadian Wildlife Service, I became specialized in endangered species and wildlife trade. So I also learned with them how to handle certain species, venomous reptiles, alligators, raptors. So those are birds of prey. With that, I also was fortunate enough, I went down to Mexico with the Canadian government as the Anglophone representative of the CBSA and learned a real lot of international trade between Canada, the United States, and Mexico when it came to wildlife smuggling and legitimate wildlife importations and exportation. So I've also been on hiring boards at the CBSA twice. So I know what to expect and what they're looking for in different aspects of people that do apply to them. I worked intelligence division on an assignment. And like Poe said, for almost 22 years, so over 2 decades of experience working for the CBSA. Then I decided time for a little change. So I went into legal services. I went to school, graduated, became a paralegal. I'm a licensee with the Law Society of Ontario. This also opened up the opportunity for me to teach at St. Clair College in Windsor. So that's a community college. It's very, very, very active in the community. It's quite large, a lot of different courses there, but it opened it up for me to start teaching border service. So I do teach there too. And that involves a lot of research and design and basically getting it from this great big picture like this to this small little bit so people can understand it. There's a lot to know when it comes to federal law for sure. So I have worked as an Ontario paralegal in the past. Right now, I'm currently not doing that. One key difference between IGS and community college, like Poe said, at IGS, they hire people with significant experience, whether it be a registered immigration consultant or border service officers such as myself and my colleagues that designed these modules for you for the Canada Border Services Specialist Program. And the one key difference that you're going to get with IGS, you are getting people with a huge amount of experience. We've walked the walk. We know how to apply what we've learned, and we like to share that and teach it with you. Community colleges, not always is it going to be a border service officer that's retired. It could be someone else that's never actually ever worked in or at a border office before. So great thing too, students, you can work at your own pace as long as you meet the timelines for assessments and the timelines for handing stuff in. And you can communicate with us as instructors one-on-one. So we can really tailor it. And I love it when I'm teaching and I get the students that are like, I've got this question, I've got that question. What about this? Hey, what do you think about this? Can you look at this and give your opinion? Am I on the right track? And we're really happy to give you that feedback. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the module that I teach, which is module 5, and that's the introduction to commercial operations. So I usually started out on day 1. I'll post some links. You'll get to see my face here again. And basically, it gives you some ideas of what to expect with this. So there's a total of 7 sessions through this module. The very first one, I talk about D memos. Not very exciting stuff. There's a lot of people, oh, I want to learn the enforcement and I want to learn about, what I see on TV. This stuff is really, really important to know. And I've always said this to students, knowledge is power. When you empower yourself to learn, you have the power to make proper decisions with it. So you learn about the D memorandum. So where is this information found? I also teach you on the customs tariff. That can get very confusing for people, but I do it very step by step to make it easy for students to learn how to do it. So you learn how to classify different goods and duty rates. And then I give you a short quiz just to see how you're doing on it. So that quiz will be on tariff and D memos, and it also basically brings it all together from what you learned to taking that quiz, and it gives me feedback too. And then that way I know, maybe we need to work on this a little bit more, so I can help you out with that. Then session 2, I move into one of the most important things that a border service officer does, and that's food, plant, and animal imports. Yes, it's fun to enforce against drugs and firearms and other prohibited goods, which of course I also talk about in one of the other sessions. So on session 5, I talk about counterfeit goods. You get a quiz there also, and you also get to learn about Canadian Food Inspection Agency. You also get to learn about AIRS, which is the Automated Import Reference System. So you get to learn how to use that to look up different food, plant, and animal products. And it's very, very step-by-step, the way I've designed these different sessions. You're also going to learn on the Export-Import Permits Act. So in total, you're going to be writing 3 quizzes. There's also 2 assessments. One of the assessments is you're going to pick an item that I give you. And then you're going to take that tariff, you're going to look through it, and you're going to say, okay, this makes sense now. And you're going to go through it, and you're going to say, oh, now I see, this is where we get all the answers. So it's a pretty straightforward assignment. The big assignment is a research on other government departments. So CBSA enforces a lot on behalf of other government departments. CBSA enforces over 90 acts of parliament, over 60 of them on behalf of other government departments. And you're going to learn about these other government departments and what CBSA does for them. So Health Canada, public health. So the Quarantine Act, been in the news a real lot over the last couple of years. So very briefly, I tell you what it is that basically a border service officer does with the Quarantine Act, especially with the pandemic going on and how that's applied at the border. So at session 6, I give you an introduction to commercial operations. So now you're going to learn, how do business goods come in? What is it I need to do as an importer to bring it in? So it's very introductory. There's a lot of information there, and it's very step by step. And basically, how is this going to help you? Well, if you've got a small business and you're looking and going, oh my God, it's costing me so much money to hire these brokers all the time. And brokers, they're experts at doing this. So for those of you that may be looking for a job at a brokerage firm, this is going to really help you a lot, this course and these modules, because you're going to learn that information. You're going to get that hands-on experience from those of us that have worked in the field for over a decade and know where to find this information and help you with it. So you're going to learn about different importers and exporters, duty-free shops, licensed customs brokerage firms, commercial carriers. So that could be a Boeing 767 from Air Canada or Pan Am, or it could be a flight from overseas, Swiss Air, could also be coming in on a train or a vessel. So you get to learn about that. You get to learn about freight forwarders. So these are companies that work in Canada, and they basically will take freight and move it all over the place across Canada. So great jobs for people to get, and you have to know about some of this information to do it. So transport companies transporting passengers. So basically, what is it when a Greyhound bus comes into Canada? And I do believe they're still running from Detroit to Toronto through Windsor. But what is it that they have to do? What are the timelines? What are the requirements for reporting? Also, I emphasize step by step on importing commercial goods for a small business. So this can help any of you out there that are looking at bringing in something for your convenience store, a restaurant that you may own, even simple coffee shop, or you could own a factory with 50 employees and say, okay, we need to bring in X amount of widgets. How do I do that? This module is definitely going to help you do that. And then I end it but with session 7 talking about commercial enforcement. So you get to learn about the AMPS penalties for CBSA, for food, plant, and animal. You're also going to learn about anti-dumping and countervailing duty and how that applies. And I talk about the Customs Act itself. It's a very serious piece of legislation by the Canadian government. It's a legislation that has what I call teeth. So there's a lot to it. Same as the Immigration Refugee Protection Act. There's a lot in there, and there's a lot to know. So what is a student going to get out of this course as a whole? So basically, one, it can give you knowledge. If you want to be a border service officer, it can say to you, yeah, this is great. This is interesting. I want to do that. This is going to help you to get there. What we can do for you as instructors, we've kind of got the inside scoop a little bit on what they're looking for. And basically, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And as I've told students in the past from St. Clair and that, one thing you don't want to do when applying is have, like pot smoker 256 at yahoo.ca as your email address. Yes, it's a legal commodity in Canada now, but they may look at that and go, nah, you know what, let's move on to the next person. So it's little things like that that we can help you out with, and it can determine if this is the right career path for you. So you're getting the information from all of us, and we know how to apply this information. The education for border service can be very, very, very complex. So if you've ever actually delved into border service before, it can be very, very, very complex for a lot of people. It can be also very helpful for any of you that are looking to say, just get a job somewhere, but not for the CBSA. For example, international trucking firms, they're always looking for people that know about border crossing and doing the paperwork. Customs brokerage firms, of course, and some of these are inland. And basically, they can really help you out. So one question we get sometimes is, well, I don't live close to the border. I don't live anywhere near a border crossing. So how can I get a job doing it? If you live up in Nunavut, there's a border office up there, believe it or not. There's also inland ones. So London has a sufferance warehouse. They've also got an international airport. So this is London, Ontario. Inland offices, Chicoutimi of the province of Quebec. They've got an office. That's quite far from the border. Prince Rupert, British Columbia, they have inland offices. So does Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. So I have a friend of mine that lives up there. He's actually been to the border office up there to pick something up that he ordered from the States. So, and a sufferance warehouse, you've got Jay's Moving and Storage in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. You never know. They could always be looking for someone that knows about clearing goods at the border and exporting. Day and Ross in Grand Falls, Newfoundland has a sufferance warehouse. So does Atlanta, and they also have another one in Chicoutimi and in various areas. If you go to the CBSA site, you can actually find where these are at. So how can it help you get a job? So your info is coming from legitimate sources. So a lot of people can say, well, I really don't need this course because Todd just said, hey, it's all online. I can just find it. However, where did you find that information? That is the big question. And a lot of employers don't want to hire someone that basically searches for the answer that they want. They want the person searching for the answer that needs to be found, not that's going to, follow what it is that they think it's supposed to be. So international firms will hire if you have a background in CBSA. There's a lot of admin jobs in CBSA if you don't want to be a border service officer. So there's some in Windsor, some in London. I think even Chatham's still got an office there where there's people that work for CBSA there. So I would like to thank everybody for attending today and listening to what I've had to say. And I will be sticking around and I'm available for any questions. So I'm going to turn it back over to Poe. Poe, thank you very much for giving me the time.
Thanks so much for sharing, Todd. Now, before we jump into the Q&A section, I'd like to take a quick moment to remind you of our recent tuition change. So we've lowered our tuition by 40% to help our students. The tuition was previously $889 per module and is now $533 per module. We have monthly start dates and the next start date is scheduled for Monday, March 7th. Okay, so now to conclude our info session, we'd like to hear from you. If you have any questions regarding our programs, please feel free to ask right now. You can raise your hand by clicking the reactions button on the Zoom screen, or you can use the chat feature to type your question. Of course, our instructor, Todd, is here to help answer any questions you may have on the Canada Border Service Specialist program. And Jen and I are also available to answer any general questions.
Hello.
Hi there. Do you have a question there, Joseph John?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you today. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is immigration law. When you finish this course,
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
hello.
Could you repeat your question or type it in the chat?
Yeah, the question is with the Canadian immigration law.
Yes.
After the completion, is it that can you write the practice exam, RO60?
No. So our Canadian Immigration Law Specialist program is not meant for those wishing to become a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So that is regulated by the CICC. But there are other promising career opportunities available after taking our Canadian immigration law program, such as working for the government or for NGOs. Our program covers all the key topics of Canadian immigration law and regulations, and is taught by consultants who have decades of experience.
Okay.
Does that help answer your question? Are there any other questions regarding our programs?
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi, so my question is, I have background in law enforcement and a law degree, and I was interested in pursuing I think it's an international relations specialist or something like that program. I'm not sure if I'm calling the program correctly.
We don't have an international
It's an
relations.
international, I think it's, oh my God.
Are you referring to our foreign service?
Foreign
officer?
service and international relations or something like that?
Yeah, our foreign service program. We do have a foreign service program, foreign service and international development specialist program.
So I was wondering what potential careers kind of qualification like that offer you?
So that program is geared towards those who are interested in working in the world of diplomacy. So as perhaps like a foreign officer with the Canadian government, but there are also other careers that could be applicable. And it's not just for the Canadian government, because we teach diplomacy, we teach negotiation and networking, how to manage international development projects. So it's a bit broader than just working as a foreign officer for the government of Canada, but those skills are transferable.
Are protocols included in that program?
Sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Are protocols included in that program? Teaching of protocols, is that part of that program or is it not?
Protocols in what sense? The program does cover bilateral, multilateral diplomacy.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And is there a payment package for international students?
So the price is the same for all students. So whether you're in Canada or outside of Canada, it is the same price. It's $533 per course. And
Per
students,
course.
yes, most of the students pay on a course by course basis. Each course is about 4 to 5 weeks long. So about once a month, you'd be expected to pay for the next course.
And that entire program can be completed if we do courses, say 4 to 6 weeks per module?
It's about 4 to 5 weeks per module, and the whole program is 24 weeks.
Or 24 weeks, okay.
With 6 modules.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And
If you have any other
one more
questions
question?
regarding that, you can simply let us know after the info session, and we can send you some more detailed information on the Foreign Service and International
Sure.
Development Specialist
I'll
program.
appreciate it, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, okay, thank you. We have a question here regarding the price, and someone has asked in the chat, is it $533 per module? And yes, that's correct, $533 per module. Each of our programs has a different number of modules. For the GES program, there are, yes, the cost is $42,664.
Yeah,
We have another
GS.
question here from Bash in the chat. What is the difference between primary and secondary at point of entry? And that's maybe a question that Todd could perhaps answer, because that's related to CBSA. Would you like to answer that, Todd?
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer that. Thanks, Paul. The difference between primary and secondary. So basically at primary is where you would present yourself to an officer. So basically land border, that would be pulling up to the inspection booth. At an airport, it would be basically the first border service officer that you meet. And that's where you're given the opportunity to declare all your goods, answer all questions truthfully. And basically that's where the officer makes a decision. So there's different sorts of ways you can be referred. There's random, which means an officer does not need a reason for referring you for examination, which can be up to and including emptying your pockets out, even a personal search. Sometimes they call them a strip search. And they get referred to secondary. So secondary is where inspections occur, or paying duty and tax, or say you have some commercial documents, you need to hand those in. That would be done at secondary. So basically the difference between the two in a nutshell is basically at primary is where you're given the opportunity and the officer makes a decision on whether to release or refer. It's one or the other. And if they refer you, then you go to secondary inspection. And that would also could involve immigration matters, person needs a work permit or what have you, but it could also be an examination of your vehicle. So hopefully I didn't confuse you on that answer. I know it's kind of long-winded.
Thanks, Todd. And again, we do cover that in detail, greater detail in the program. So I mean, we can only cover so much in the info session here. We do have another question here. Do you have to know how to use a gun to work for the CBSA? Where do you go for practicum when everything is online? So Todd, do you mind answering the question regarding how to use a gun, if that's a requirement for the CBSA?
Sorry,
I think
Paul,
you're muted there, Todd.
I'm looking for that question in there.
It's in the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking through the chat right now. So I see there's a few things that are coming through. Know how to use a gun for the CBSA. It is a requirement at land border crossings. I carried a firearm for 5 years. I'm not even going to tell you what kind it is, but most people don't realize Border Service carries 51 rounds of ammunition with them at all times. Basically, it is a requirement. There may be different offices where it's not, because I know at one time they did not carry them at postal operations. I know in Windsor, you're either armed or you cannot work with the public. So there's different officers that opted for different other jobs, and they no longer work with the public. So I do believe it has a lot to do with the border crossing itself. But generally, yes, expect to actually learn how to handle a firearm. And CBSA teaches you how to do it. It is RCMP based. I went to Chilliwack, British Columbia for my training. I also went to Prince Edward Island for my annual or semi-annual one a couple years or a year later. And basically they teach you how to do it. You shoot off about 5,000 rounds of ammunition, and it's pretty safe, very, very strictly run. Difference between federal is you shoot at 25 meters. So in feet, if we do have anybody from the United States, it's not sure what a meter is. It's about 85 feet is how far it is. Provincial Ontario police shoot it up to 15 meters. That's it. So, which is, I think, 45 feet. It's not very far. It's really easy to shoot that. So I hope that answers the question for you. But yes, in most circumstances, it is a requirement to carry a firearm on the job.
Thanks, Todd.
You're welcome.
Looks like there's another question here regarding the GES program that maybe my colleague Jen can help go over again. The question is in chat is, I qualify as a medical office assistant. Can I apply for the GES program? Jen, can you just go over quickly the admission requirements and the admission process, the application process for those who may have missed it?
Yeah, for sure. So basically our application process is quite simple. So you can go down our website, globalspecialist.org. And then there's an enrollment form that you can fill that up and then just submit a copy of your resume and we will review. So basically we don't really need like prior experience. So we will definitely look at your resume and let you know. So it's assessed individually. So everyone is different, but simply is that we don't really require a background for that. So for the Global Education Specialist program, for this program, we are going to train you to become a successful education advisors. That means you are going to learn step by step how to do it from the first step, and then how to connect with your clients, how to deal with the different schools, and then how to actually maintain your business successfully. So you don't really need any prior experience for that, as long as you do have a passion to help family, to help students going into different schools. And I would say this GS program is also good for those who has already have connection. I mean, who have already like working in a quite similar field like immigration consultant. So if you are dealing with clients overseas, so besides the immigration business, they may also interested in doing like sending their children overseas to study. So that in that kind of like field, you would for the GS program, it's definitely helpful for you to add extra knowledge for you to assist your clients to do the school application. Yeah.
Thanks, Jen. Again, if you have any other questions regarding anything we covered today, you can always send us an email at info@globalspecialist.org after the presentation. Do we have any other questions on our programs or to our guest instructor, Todd? Okay, it looks like we don't have any other questions at this time, but if you think about anything else, please feel free to let us know after the presentation. So before we wrap up today, we encourage you to check out our website and read about our amazing instructors under the faculty section. Of course, we're very proud of our instructors, and they have been carefully chosen for their expertise and real world experience. So our website is globalspecialist.org, and you can apply online for the March 7th start date. You can also email us at info@globalspecialist.org or call us at 1-888-228-4598. Well, looks like we have one other question that just came in right now from in the chat. Bash has asked, does the officer, a CBSA officer, have access to a passenger's immigration history at primary examination at the airport? That's a very specific question. Todd can go into it a bit, but if you have any questions specific to our IGS program, we can certainly help address it after the presentation. But Todd, do you mind going over quickly what that would involve?
Yes, sure. Anyways, Bash and everybody else, yes, they actually do have immigration information at the port of entry when you come in at primary examination. So the system that they use is called the Primary Automated Lookout System. I believe you'll learn about that in Module 2, or it could be the one right after mine, Module 6. And basically, that information is very, very, very confidential. It's not ever given to the police or to anybody else. There's really, really strict confidentiality with the federal government. Basically, in reading that passport or that identification, it can tell your history on where you've traveled to and from. But it all depends, because it is a requirement. I believe it's under Section 11. I don't know the subsection, but it is under Section 11 of the Customs Act on commercial carriers that carry passengers have to provide a list of who their passengers are in advance of the landing. So I'm not sure what the timeline is right off the top of my head. Could be about anywhere from 3 to 12 hours for that. So I hope that answers your question. So they do have some immigration information about you. You're welcome.
Thanks,
Bash,
Todd.
anytime.
There is another question here. It looks like it's a very specific question related to work permits and study permits. I'm not sure if we can go into too much detail regarding the ins and outs of work permits. Todd, if you can perhaps look at that question and see if you are able to address it. If not, we can always, we don't have to necessarily go into in great detail, but perhaps you can shed some light on that topic there.
Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at Alex's question here. Flagpole, an accepted method to validate work permits or study permits. You have to excuse me, Alex. I've been out of it since 2012. I have taught immigration at St. Clair College before. I've never heard the term flagpole though. So that could be more of a new term that I'm unaware of.
This may also be covered in our Canadian immigration law program. We do cover ETAs, TRVs, TRPs. So I'm not exactly sure how much of that would be covered in the Canada Border Services Specialist program, but those topics are definitely covered in our Canadian immigration law program. Unfortunately, I don't think we can get into all these kind of details, but if you do have questions regarding the topics that we cover in our different programs, you can certainly let us know after the presentation. Okay. There's another question again from Alex. It is regards to his previous question. But again, I don't know if we can go into such detail right now. This is a general information info session about our programs, but if you have specific questions on what our programs cover, we can certainly address it after by email afterwards. Okay, so thank you for your questions. I think we're going to wrap up for today. Again, I just want to repeat that our website is globalspecialist.org and our next start date is March 7th. Again, if you have any other questions beyond what we've covered today, please let us know by email info@globalspecialist.org or call us at 1-888-228-4598. 98. So thank you for your time, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye now.